Without further ado, I would like to introduce you to Reverend Linda Martella Whitsett, extraordinary speaker and person. Thank you, Linda, so much for being here. We are so honored. Yay!
Well, I feel the honor, you guys. It's really such a beautiful coming together. I have to say that I've spoken in a lot of spiritual communities, and you guys have your act together. I mean, from the very beginning, from your first invitation all the way through to yesterday's quick rehearsal. I mean, every detail. I really like to work with clarity and a sense of purpose. And I really feel that with you. So I already feel like I know you, and I feel so connected to the heart of what you're about, especially reading your opening statement here of what you are about. I think you'll hear echoes of it in today's message, as a matter of fact. So I'd like to share, I'll start with this little story of mine. So the razor in my toiletry bag wasn't doing its job. I mean, I was preparing to go to the beach. I had made a trip to the beach. Gosh, this was a year ago. I was starved for the beach, living in the Midwest, as you know. And I needed to prepare. I needed to shave my legs. The problem was the razor wasn't working. You know, it was a new razor. It wasn't an electric one. I had packed it just prior to the trip because the one that had been in my bag had dulled. You know, I lathered up. I ran the razor a couple times over one side of my leg. And then I looked just to kind of make sure I got everything. And the hair was still there, like on the leg, not on the razor. And I tried again and again. And then I began to think, this razor is no good. I thought, well, let me try on my other leg, like as if to believe that there's something wrong with my leg, right? I did, though. Trust me, I did. Oh, and you know, I gave up. Finally, I rinsed off, went to the front desk, but I dressed first, of course, and I asked for a replacement razor. All right, so later, I was all done, and I'm drying off. I'm drying my second baby toe with a towel. And I paused because the knuckle on that toe was very tender. In that pause, I remembered the head of the new razor had detached, and I reattached it. Maybe I had put the razor head on upside down. You know, I wonder how many of you were way ahead of me and already had figured out, well, she must have had the razor on upside down. But it occurred to me in that pause, you know, trying to fix something that I think is broken. You know, maybe it's not that it is broken. Maybe it's my thinking that is upside down. So I really ponder this in relationship to the topic of healing, because healing is the third book. It's the most recent. In fact, it's officially launching tomorrow, March 1st. Yeah. So my daughter and I have been really on this subject for the last 2.5 years of writing and production. So thinking that healing is something that happens to us, it's upside down. It's upside down. Our culture tells us that God will heal us if we gather enough of a prayer team, right? They call them prayer warriors, as if healing is all about a battle. It's a big upside down. You know, not everybody agrees with me about this, but God does not heal. Why? Because God is not an actor, is not a human-like figure that then acts upon us. This is a big upside down for a lot of people. And you don't have to agree with me, but it is my knowing as I've grown in trying to sort out what God is and what God isn't, and what I am and what I am what I'm capable of. God's not a sentient being, but the beingness itself. So God is the very power of healing. But who does the healing? We heal. We heal. And when do we heal? When we're in a state of realization that we are more than human. When we have a view of ourselves as spiritual, or what I like to refer to as our divine identity. So to heal is to realize, it's to nurture ourselves, it's to free ourselves from, right, from upside down thinking, and it's to free ourselves for our evolution of our awareness, and to devote attention to our whole life, to the very power that is within us and available for us to be able to draw upon and utilize in order to heal our life. So it's about our attention, isn't it? I mean, this is not a new concept, a new thought. It's the whole point. It's the law of mind, right? When my attention goes to what seems to be missing, wrong, or broken about me, I get into this question of, well, what caused this to happen to me? And if I go there, then I start thinking, well, who has the capacity to heal me, right? I start spinning in my feelings of incapacities, which is a very human thing to do, very natural in the human awareness. But we know as we study metaphysics that we have pivotal power, that we are fully human and we are fully divine. That human feelings are precious, they're tender, they're to be honored and appreciated. But human feelings are followers, not leaders. Human feelings are indicators, not directors. To act on feelings alone is to react. So the divine of our nature is so subtle, isn't it? It's beneath the surface. I think of it like a teacher waiting silently at the head of her class, just waiting to begin as soon as the students settle in their seats, right? Our inner resources are like that. Our spiritual faculties or capacities, they lie in potential until we be still and know. Until we turn our attention inward, until we, turn right side up and, pivot our awareness into our state of possibility or capacity. And of course, for metaphysical students, it's the value of our spiritual practice, that it is our practice, it is our meditation, our prayer, our spiritual activity that allows us to get into that altered consciousness. Because if we stay in that only human awareness, and of course, it's easy to be there when we're feeling pain, whether it's physical pain or emotional pain, it's easy to just feel our whole human condition, of course. And we get into this question of why, and our culture has many disturbing answers to the question why when we get into human challenge and unwanted circumstances. The predominant one that is so distasteful as I grow is that humans are by design broken and fallen. I mean, this is the predominant religious teaching in the Western culture, and it has been damaging to humanity as far as I can see. It has the premise that God needs to punish us, or worse, God tests us. God teaches us lessons. Why? So God can strengthen us. I mean, we say these crazy things like God only gives you what you can handle. Upside down. Or even worse, for the glory of God. What God needs me to be ill so that God can feel glorious, so that God can shine, right? We rely upon the God that hurts us to heal us. And all of this to say that because of all these constructs, we have come to internalize in many cases this terrible message that suffering is noble and brings us closer to God. Now, most of us, if we've been studying New Thought, we can see ourselves grown from there. We don't really subscribe to those very traditionalist or fundamentalist ideas. And yet we think we're so evolved because we no longer believe that God caused it, either as a punishment or that God needs humans to be weak so that God can be strong, that sort of mentality. But we're no better when we start replacing God with universe and we say things like, the universe is hitting me with the proverbial 2x4. Why? To teach me a lesson? Upside down, in my opinion, upside down. So this really becomes a challenge for us then. If that's not all right side up way of understanding, what's happening and what is mine to do when I'm experiencing unwanted conditions and feel the need for healing, we get into needing to see it differently, don't we? We have to look at it in a totally different way. And then we have to do something very different. So, just think for yourself of your recent experience with something that maybe you have believed, or even just you had the thought of something was missing, wrong, or broken. And then try on this answer to the question, why? Why do these things happen? Well, I believe they happen for love. They happen for love with a capital L, for the power of love. Now, rightly understood, the power of love is the magnet of the universe. Charles Fillmore said that. The Unity founder, Charles, said love is the magnet of the universe. It draws all to itself, right? And so for the cause of love, all things happen, if we're thinking about it from the highest viewing point. So what is that love? It is magnetism. It is that. It is the magnet. But it's also harmony and unity. These are big powers. The power of magnetism, harmony, and unity. And when we start to rightly understand that love is the superpower and that all things happen because of love, we start to really understand our circumstances very differently. I certainly have. For me to understand that the underlying cause is love. It's for my ability to harmonize, for example. And love wants to be the response. It wants to be the result. It wants to be the resulting consciousness. And it's not personal. We call it spiritual law. It's not personal. In other words, it's not just about me and my circumstances. It's the law of life itself, of the universe itself. And how do we know it's spiritual law? Because it works the same way for everyone, every time. That's a law. What is personal about it is where I place my attention day by day. I'm either working in cooperation with that law, or I'm, running into barriers and I'm feeling the sting, the further sting of the complicating factors that happen when I'm not feeling well, when I'm not feeling strong, when I'm not feeling worthy, all the things that happen at times when I'm feeling the need for healing in my life, right? That those things become magnified when I am not cooperating with the law of love. This is a big deal. In the book that my daughter and I wrote, that's coming out tomorrow, This Life is Yours, Discover Your Power, Claim Your Wholeness, and Heal Your Life. We write about the value of 15 minutes. 15 minutes for someone who has been in chronic pain for many years and has altered their entire pattern of action and thought around those concerns. that condition can feel consuming. And we write about the interrupting the conditioning of thought with 15 minutes of dedicated, some kind of practice, some kind of focused thought. Because we know from brain science, we know that our brain chemistry and body chemistry actually changes when we change our thinking. And so just a short spate of time, just a little practice every single day bears tremendous fruit over time. But don't we know that's why we call it practice, right? Because it does, we improve in our ability not only to practice what we practice, but in order to experience the gains of it over time. So when we focus on what is true for just 15 minutes every day, we're imprinting a new idea, and we are fortifying ourselves to be able to work in greater harmony with the law of love in this way, right? Our thoughts then become magnetized to that one idea that becomes an ideal for us, right? That ideal, on our book, we write about it as wholeness. Wholeness is the ideal. It's the true nature of us that certainly doesn't seem visible at a time when we're experiencing any kind of human condition and their symptoms, right? But one simple practice to activate the power of love is such a valuable thing, right? So here, let me just talk a little bit more about this power of love, because it's no small thing. Love is so easily overused, right? We love one another, but we also love ice cream, right? I mean, love just has become such almost an impotent word because it means everything. And so then it ends up meaning nothing. But when we look to the law of love, and when we start to study what's the activity of this power, and let's remember that the scriptures say God is love. So what we are talking about is God. And I like to think of it, since God is not a person, I think of it as Godness. Godness. Love is Godness. It's a quality of the divine. And when I think of it as Godness, I have an easier ability to internalize it as a claim, as my own claim, for me to know that I'm not separate from what I have called God. That I can't be separate. That in fact, when I call it Godness, I see it as an aspect of my true nature, and I can actually call myself that, right? I am love. It's not just that love comes to me, or that even that I can feel love or share it, but love is the very nature of what I am. And that love, as magnetism, is the law of attraction. It's the law of mind action, as Unity teaches it. What I think about, I bring about. What I dwell upon, I get more of. It's the simple truth of what do I desire, and as I desire it, as I desire it, I am building a body of attention on it that allows me to see it around me and to notice it within me. Then that's for good or for not, right? So whatever it is I desire, because these powers are values neutral, truly. It's whatever I'm dwelling upon. That's what I get in front of me. That's what I tend to experience more of. And so to work with my thoughts and to be very deliberate at times when I'm in a healing process, to be able to anchor in for myself the idea of what I most want to experience. What do I want to most know about my wholeness, about my true nature, about the fullness of my life beyond this one thing that seems to have become missing, wrong, or broken, right? If I can look beyond that and look to the greater value of What do I want to know is the truth of me that I can dwell upon? Now I become a magnet for experiencing more of that and for noticing the resources around me as well as within me that can help me to live more firmly in that state of awareness. So that's love. That's a very different definition for love than most of us are acquainted with, right? So harmony is another aspect of divine love. Harmony, if I could define harmony, I would say it's the mind, body, spirit, all in cooperation, right? That I have no inner discords. I'm not arguing, one part of me not arguing with another. And we humans are so good at that. I mean, it's the way our brain works. Our brain is divided into little committees, right? Little champions of different bodies of thought, right? I mean, that's just the way the brain works. But harmony is our asking all of those aspects of ourself, mind, body, and spirit, to be in a state of oneness, right? To work together for the demonstration of my wholeness of life. No inner discords. That's a challenge, and it is something worthy of my attention to dwell upon that, especially when I feel so divided because of pain, because of disharmony in my experience. And the third aspect of divine love that I am, is the big U, unity. I love the word unity as a discipline that that is one of my traditions these days, but this is what the heart of unity means: the integration and reconciliation of my human experience with my divine identity. Unity, that I collapse all sense of separateness or division, that I don't see myself as pieces and parts like Kentucky Fried Chicken, right? I'm not pieces and parts. I'm one divine whole, unified beingness. And this, of course, I don't feel it all the time when I'm in the middle of a human condition, but it's what I strive for and what spiritual practice gets me to. Does this make sense for you in your own experience? So I really I think that 15 minutes, it's worth my 15 minutes. It's worth my 15 minutes every day to just focus upon even the power of love as just one dominant theme that I would dwell upon, and that I would see what's my relationship to that love and how do I actually utilize that love, rather than it just be on the surface some kind of happy feeling, right? Some kind of feeling of caring about myself or another person, something much stronger than that, a healing force indeed, right? I write a lot about the power of love and all of what unity refers to as the 12 powers in my second book, Divine Audacity. It really highlights each one of these and the aspects of these powers that are so, I mean, they're called powers because they're potent, right? Because they have such potential, potential. They have such potential. And it's a lifetime of study and practice that bears fruit, that allows us to get clearer and to feel that, to get to a state where we feel the truth of our wholeness of being, that in fact there is nothing missing, wrong, or broken about us ever, no matter what circumstances we're in the midst of, no matter what we're feeling in any moment. And to know that even when we're having feelings, even when we're having symptoms, to know that is a strengthening, right? It's a strengthening. So I would like to just give us this moment of attention and read to you one of the many affirmations in the third book that's coming out tomorrow. And this is an affirmation to assert spiritual power. So I'd like you to close your eyes if you would be willing to do that. And just take a breath. Breathing in and then sighing out for just a few minutes, and returning to that state of awareness that is, it is mind and it is no mind. It's full presence. Notice what you've been feeling and thinking in these last minutes hearing this message. And recognize if you've been in a state any time in recent past of maybe powerlessness, that this affirmation to assert spiritual power could be useful. When I feel paralyzed by powerlessness, may I remember that spiritual power is natural to me. May I attune to spiritual power in the atmosphere around me, internalizing it with every beat of my heart. May the rhythm of my own heart be the drum of power, fortifying me, egging me on. May I dance to the beat, feel powerful in my body, and may the words flowing from my lips be as respectful as they are true. So feel the value of that. Open your eyes if you'd like. And, I'll close by just saying, it's not as though we'll never again have an upside down thought, right? I know my mind quite well. I know my human thinking quite well. And it's not about eradicating all of our unhelpful thinking. It's not about eradicating it. It's about distinguishing those thoughts from the truth. It's about our ability to do that, our growing capacity for that. But by means of spiritual practice, we know how to turn around. We know how to pivot, right? From an awareness of ourselves as only human to an awareness of our true, powerful, divine nature. And then in that stance, we discover our power, we claim our wholeness, and we heal our life. So friends, I honor you and I bless you for any spark of insight arising in your thoughts and feelings this morning, and especially for your courage to walk in human experience with your growing awareness of your spiritual capacities. I appreciate your presence. I am so grateful to be here with you this morning. And I close with what I really always seek to know about myself. And I also want to claim it and know it with you. And that is that you are divine. Thank you.